So I am speaking with Elaine Smith, Master Tax Advisor with H&R Block. Elaine has an MBA, a management degree, and is one of the top experts in the nation. Thank you, Elaine, for joining us today to talk about what's happening with taxes.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I guess the first thing I wanted to ask was about the recent stimulus package and some of the new congressional tax laws that have come into effect. How have these things affected the average taxpayer?
You know, the thing to remember, we hear a lot about the Bush tax cuts and that they are going to expire, and there's a lot of discussion about whether they should be extended or not. If the Bush tax cuts expire, 98% of taxpayers will be impacted. Those hit hardest are those with families. You know, there's impact to the child tax credit. It decreases from $1,000 to $500. The dependent care credit decreases from $3,000 to $2,400, and the marriage penalty is reintroduced, which means that taxpayers who are married and jointly actually pay more taxes than they would have had they been individual single filers.
Okay, and this happens, even if these Bush tax cuts expire, this actually affects people who are not considered wealthy and who actually make less than $250,000 a year?
That's true. It really impacts almost everybody. There was something in those Bush tax cuts for almost everybody that was a taxpayer, and with those expiring, again, almost everyone will be impacted.
Okay, and what are some of the tax laws that are being considered that might offset this for some of the more ordinary people? Is Congress considering any measures to kind of keep the marriage penalty away, but still raise taxes for those making more than $250,000? Are there some things that Congress is thinking of doing, or is it either an all or nothing?
You know, Congress is doing a lot of discussion right now, and they can go any way. They could let it all expire, they can extend it all, or they can introduce a bill that would have bits and pieces for certain types of groups. Until Congress does something, taxpayers are really the ones who are in limbo. It's that they won't know what's going to happen. And the best thing people can do is go in and talk to a tax professional and do kind of a tax tune-up and do a what if. What if these tax credits expired and these tax deductions expired? What would my tax return look like? So that they can do some planning and not be surprised when they do file their tax return.
Okay. So then what about coming up to 2011, our taxes for 2010 won't be affected by the expiring Bush tax cuts, but what can we do now to prepare for taxes to prepare our 2010 tax return for April? What can we do now to take advantage of year-end tax opportunities?
You're exactly right. Those Bush tax cuts won't impact us for a whole other 12 months or so. What is important is that in the next 100 days, we'll have this alternative minimum tax, and if it's not patched, 25 million taxpayers will actually pay $3,000 to $5,000 more in taxes when they file their return here in January and April. So your question is great. What can people do now so that they're not surprised when they do file their tax return? There's really three things people can do, and they're easy things, and they apply to most everybody. The first thing is to invest in yourself. There's an up to $4,000 education credit. So if you're looking to change jobs or change careers and you're looking for maybe a more advanced degree in your current field, now is the time to do that better than ever. You can also invest in your retirement. Put money into your 401k. Make sure you're maxing that out. Put money into your IRA. Make sure that you're getting all the tax benefits you can from those kind of retirement dollars. The last thing people can do is invest in their homes. Don't forget there's that $1,500 energy tax credit available between now and the end of the year. So as you're preparing to winterize for your home, maybe adding some insulation, replacing some leaky windows, save all those receipts because you want to take advantage of that $1,500 energy tax credit.
Okay, great. Well, I think that should do it as far as I'm concerned. Was there any other important things that you think that the average taxpayer should keep in mind before we go?
Sure. What people need to know is that the tax code is complex, and we are in a state of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to necessarily happen. There's some good resources on irs.gov and hrblock.com, calculators, tips, and tools, even some tailored advice depending on your occupation, so that you make sure you're getting all the credits and deductions you're eligible for.
Okay, well, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Yes, thanks.